I think a lot of people also don't realize when we go and do shows, that costs authors money. I paid to sit at that table. And spoiler, I'm adding Zayden to the lineup this year. I know.
I'm Vana from TBR Trio, and in this episode of Tales in Focus, we are at Charm City Books in Baltimore, Maryland. Today, we are sitting down with Samantha Heil, an author who not only co-wrote the book series Mixtape with 3 volumes currently out, but she is also the owner and coordinator of Book Fair at Bel Air right here in Maryland. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future author interviews. Now, without further ado, please welcome Samantha.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
We are so excited to talk about you and your book and also your journey as a book fair owner.
Thank you.
But before we dive into all that good stuff, I do
Sure.
have a couple icebreaker questions for you. So if you were a character in a movie, what genre would it be and who would play you?
Wow, that's a really tough question. I'm pretty sure it would be some kind of rom-com, but like heavy on the com, because it would be a definitely funny, moments of, things are just happening all the time and they're silly. Like that would definitely be my life story. Who would play me? I don't know. How like people have celebrity doppelgangers and stuff. I don't think I have any of those. I always don't know her name, but I always loved the girl. She was in Revenge. Do you remember that story, that show?
I don't think I've ever watched that show.
I don't remember her name, but she was the star of that show. I always liked her, so I think it would be her, but in a more rom-com role instead of in a thriller role, because that's what I've known. She was in Everwood too. I don't know if you saw that years and years ago. No?
There's a lot of shows I have to catch up on.
That's a really old one. So,
Okay.
Yeah, I would pick her. I don't know what her name is, but I would pick her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to do some research on that.
Yeah, sorry.
If you had to eat one meal every day for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Chips and guac.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Chips and guac.
All right.
Maybe some queso thrown in here and there, but I'm
Any
definitely.
proteins at all?
I mean, who needs that?
Yeah,
no,
right,
no, avocado all day.
That's a fair answer. It's
Yeah.
healthy fat, right?
Yeah,
So-
no, healthy fat, sure.
And the last one, if you could live in any fictional world, which one would you pick and why?
Valeris, because Cassian is there, obviously.
Yeah,
I
of
mean,
course.
I don't think there's anything else really to choose.
That's an accurate answer, and we
Yeah.
all approve.
Mhm.
Okay, great. So let's dive into your experience as an author. So
Sure.
tell us a little bit about yourself. What made you want to be an author?
So I've been writing since I was very little. Writing was always in my heart. I've been a reader since I was very little too. And I grew up in a really small town, and across the street from me was my best friend. And so we started writing together really early, middle school early, when computers still had perforated edges. We would print the things out and tear them and run to each other with new chapters. We started, of course, like most authors do, in the fan fiction realm. We really are very specific about not, divulging who the fan fiction was about. It's our secret to this day. Actually, I think somebody got it out of us at some point, but it's buried. You'll never find it. So we wrote fan fiction for quite a while, and then I would say 8th grade-ish, we started writing our first short story together. And so we very naturally started co-writing really early. And as we kind of went through life, we would, work on things here and there, but nothing was really coming together as a full novel. We actually brainstormed an entire fantasy series in our 20s. So whether that comes to fruition at some point, it remains to be seen.
I was going to say, is it published?
It is not. It is in our heads, and we talk about it often. It's been, I do think we'll get to it eventually, but we started in our 20s, but then we had kids, then we did this, and we did that, and it just never came to be. And so we were visiting with each other at one point. I want to say it was pre-COVID, pre all of that. And it was kind of let's do this for real. Let's brainstorm it. Let's write a book. And so we wrote Mixtape, or the original version of Mixtape 1. And we learned a lot. There were many years, there were many drafts. There were many everything. We then had to learn about publishing, which was a whole nother thing to have to learn. We queried for about a year, I would say. I run a business in my waking life, so it didn't make sense for us to really go that route when I already knew how to do everything, because a lot of traditional publishers want you to do a lot of your own marketing, a lot of your own thing, and we have to split everything 2 ways. So for us, it just made sense to go the indie route because we get to keep more of the profit, we get to control more of what comes out. So we went that way, and our first book is young adult. And so the young adult market in indie isn't great. It's really hard. It's actually harder, I think, than most of the other genres. And while we are romance, which I do think is really popular with indie, I think the young adult angle, while we did it and we finished the series, we are going to start getting away from it. We're going to go adult next time. We're actually currently working on an adult series. Yeah, that's kind of the story of how we started writing together. And now it's just really natural. People are always like, how do you write with 2 people? How do you?
Well, that was going to be like my follow-up. Like,
yeah.
How does that dynamic work? Like, do you guys like write a chapter each, or do you guys like, how does that relationship work?
It is different every time. I wish I could tell you this is what we do and this is how, but it very much is not. Sometimes I'll jump in. We do try to, in mixtape specifically, we did have chapters that were mine, chapters that were hers. Mm-hmm. That we did. But sometimes we'll jump into each other's chapters because if there's something I really want to write, or there's something that she's coming in to add voice to, because sometimes she would come and add somebody's voice in because it just sometimes sounds better when there's 2 people. Mm-hmm. We would trade off that way. But we've done it different times every single time. Sometimes I would draft and she would come up behind me, and because she's an editor at her core, like she is just an excellent editor, and I'm more of like big picture drafter, first draft kind of a thinker. And so we work really well together because we have different strengths, and she likes to do the things I don't like to do, and I like to do the things she doesn't like to do, because she doesn't want anything to do with marketing. Every time we have to do like an interview or something like that, she's always like, oh geez, this is like just not.
Well, that's why you're here.
Yeah, it's not her favorite thing. She'll do them, but because we're long distance, we do some things separately for sure. We try to get out as much as we can together, but it ends up being just a couple of times a year that you can see us at a book fair or at, whatever. So it's fun. It keeps us, fresh, and we're always talking about something. So it's nice to, be able to do that with your friend.
Yeah, no, that's great. And you guys have been best friends for a while now, right?
Since we were 6.
Since you were 6, you guys are practically like sisters.
No, I think we can read each other's minds. It's very much a sister dynamic.
That's great. So I'm assuming, like, when you first started writing with her, has there ever been any like discrepancies or anything?
Absolutely.
So
we are really good at making sure the other one is happy, I think. And I think at our core, when we do this, we want the other one to be happy. So if there's something that she really cares about, like really, there are definitely things that, you fall in love with your characters, you want certain things to happen. I think we will defer to the other one if it's that big of a deal. Luckily, nothing is really that big of a deal to either of us. So we've been really good about being able to, edit scenes and pick things that happen together and make decisions together. We have learned that we have to outline, because I'm a pantser by heart. If you're listening and you have no idea what I just said, a pantser is somebody who writes by the seat of their pants, and an outliner obviously creates an outline. So we have to outline. That's the one thing we've learned about us, is that there has to be one, or we just completely get off track.
Yeah, so it gets all.
Yeah, it gets all messy. So the outlining process is actually one of my favorites, because I love that big picture thinking, that brainstorming, that creativity that goes into it. So I feel like I could outline all day long.
What has been the most surprising thing you've learned throughout this writing journey?
So I think the most surprising thing I've learned is that authors put so much of their blood, sweat, and tears into these books. And I know that when you're a reader and you just read through a book and it doesn't really take you that long, I don't think you realize as a reader how much goes into the books. Money, time, energy, all of that. It's a lot to put out a book. So I'm always very respectful of authors who have finished a book. My own personal book reviews have gone way up. I don't really rate anyone below 3 stars anymore, because I'm like, you got a book out. Like, you wrote a whole book. That's amazing. And so even if I didn't like it, it's like, I just can't in my heart.
There was effort.
Yeah, I can't in my heart give anyone below 3 stars. So I'm much nicer about my book ratings now than I ever was. But yeah, that's, I think the most surprising thing is that everything costs money. The cover, the editing, you name it.
Even your time.
Yeah, yes. And even I think a lot of people also don't realize when we go and do shows, that costs authors money. I paid to sit at that table. I paid to stay at a hotel if I needed to get there, or whatever, food, you name it. And I love doing the shows. They're so much fun. I love to meet readers. I love to meet other authors. They're honestly probably my favorite part of being an author, and being an event coordinator is just because I love networking with other people who love books. I just always feel like I'm at home with my people, and it always feels like it's where I belong.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I feel like the reading community, the book community is such a impactful place, and there's just such a sense of belonging.
Yes.
That you just kind of, you're in it, and as an author especially, like you're in it, you have a bunch of author friends that also go through the same journey as you, and I'm not an author, but I'm a reader, so I can definitely see it from like our perspective, but from an author's perspective, it's probably like so much more like, you're like, wow, like that we really built something.
I think it's very similar because I have friends that are both, readers and writers, and I don't think a lot of authors put themselves on such a pedestal where they would be like, oh, I'm not taking. The readers are the ones who are reading and recommending and giving us feedback on things. So, for a lot of things, sometimes I feel like it's a collaborative effort. Sometimes I have friends who I'll be like, will you just take a look at this real quick and just, fresh eyes, let me know what you think, kind of a thing. And I think we all just have such a joy, have such a love of reading that it just brings us together, and it's honestly such a great community.
Yeah, it's definitely very rewarding.
Yes.
Yes. Well, let's talk about that. So you said you're an event coordinator.
Yes.
So in what ways has being an author influenced how you felt the book fair experience?
So it has everything to do with how and why I built the book fair experience. I was at an event. I was actually at the Women's Right Book Festival, which takes place here in Baltimore. They're having their final year this year, which is kind of a bummer, but I'm excited for them. So I was there for the first time 2 years ago, I think, and it was Erin and I's first event ever. And we're brand new. We're baby authors. We have one book, and I was just overcome with how inspiring it was. There's all these people coming together who just love all the same things. And again, I just had that feeling like of community and home. And there's nothing like that where I'm at. We don't have an indie bookstore. We don't have, we have a very huge Barnes and Noble. And unfortunately, they don't do too many events. So it never feels like there's this community to like hang out with your book friends and, either make new book friends, So I wanted to bring something like that to my area. Because I somehow ended up in the business world, I've always wanted to own a bookstore, but that is so far beyond what I'm capable of right now. It is a lot of money and a lot of time, way more time and effort and money than I have. So I thought, let me try this first and kind of see what I can do. And so the book fair was born. I actually had an epiphany sitting at Panera Bread one day. I was writing with an author friend. Her name is Christy Wolf. Go check out her romantic suspense. Yes, and your interview. And so I'm sitting at Panera with her and writing, and I looked at her and I was like, take a picture of me. And she was like, what? And I said, take a picture of me. So she did. We'll later find out that the picture disappeared. Oh, no. She's like, it's somewhere in my camera. I don't know where it is. I'm like, find the picture because this is momentous. And I just knew immediately then that was going to happen, that I was going to start the book fair there. I didn't know the name. I didn't know the venue. I didn't know anything. But I just knew that was when I was going to start.
That was the moment.
It was the moment. It was like, this is it. I'm going to do this.
In a Panera. Shout out
in a Panera. I know.
That's amazing.
Again, our community really needs more local offerings, but Panera is the place where you go to do, writing and reading and get some coffee and whatever else you're going to do.
So you had this idea to start, you're like, I'm gonna do a book fair. I don't know how. I don't know how it's gonna work.
Yeah.
So what went into that process when you actually started to plan it? Walk us through the first couple of months.
So the first thing was finding a venue, and our local moms Facebook group, shout out, they're amazing. I mean, they will find anything for you. So I went to them first and I was like, where do I do this? And they came up with like 25 ideas. I knew I wanted it to be in Bel Air because I've been in Bel Air a long time. I really love the area. It's my favorite place I've ever lived, and I've lived in a lot of places. And so I wanted it to be based on, it originally was going to be Bel Air Book Fair, but because I'm independent, I didn't want it to sound like Bel Air owned the book fair, just in case like copyright and stuff like that. So I just flipped it to do book fair at Bel Air, just so it was like a little bit more general. And then when I walked into the Armory, which is on Main Street, it is the coolest building. It's like a big castle. It's like this big room. It's beautiful inside. It's just like really, the vibes are really cool. And so I knew that was going to be the first place. And then so when I put out to get authors, it actually was kind of hard because getting the word out is the hardest part of everything. No matter what you do, getting the word out is the hardest part. Yet last year was our first book fair, and I had about, I think there were 25 authors, but we had vendors too. So I would say maybe in the upper 30s of tables we had. It was phenomenal. The community came out in spades for this event. I was floored by how many people we packed into this little space.
Especially for your first.
For my first one, I was just amazed. And so it really confirmed my belief that we really needed this ode to literacy in the area, because just so many people were interested, and they were like, when are you going to do this again? And people were like, well, when are you going to open a bookstore? And I'm like, when I get enough money to open a bookstore. So it was really great. It was an awesome experience. So this year we doubled. We now have, so with table sharing, we probably have about 46 total authors, vendors, you name it. And so this year it is on August 23rd from 10 to 2 at the Bel Air Armory. And next year we are going to double again. So we are moving into the APGFCU arena over at Harford County Community College, which is, I upgraded.
Gosh.
I know, I'm so excited. It is, it's a basketball arena. It really, it is what you think it is. It is a basketball arena. And so next year I'm going to have 110 spaces for authors and vendors and you name it. And it's going to be, I'm so excited. I'm hoping to bring in like a featured author, somebody who people really want to come and see. No names yet because I'm still, talking and all of that good stuff. But I'm super excited about the trajectory and where it's going, and how many people are also super excited about the event in the community.
Well, that's huge. And you started this book fair literally last year.
Last year was my first year. There's just so much interest. People are so excited about having a book event in the area. I get messages, I get all kinds of cool things that, people are looking for, and people have ideas too. They're like, I had a teenager message me the other day. This is the coolest thing. And she was like, can we cosplay? I'm like, can you cosplay? Yes, you can cosplay. Like, dude, it's not even a question. And I was like, do you want a contest? And she was like, yeah. I'm like, okay, we'll do a contest. Cool. And so cosplay contest was born, and we're going to do that this year because I really want it to be something for everyone. There is a children's section, there is a teen section, there is an adult section. I really want it to be something for everyone across generations of readers. So it really is a full family event. There are some really cool things I can do at the APGFCU that I could not do at the Armory, that I'm super excited about, and I can't say yet, but I'm super excited about because I think they're even more fun for families. I'm really trying hard to keep this free. So it was free last year, it's free this year, and my hope is that it's going to stay free. I've been able to do that through some awesome sponsorships. This year, community members just stepped up to really, so many. I have a realtor, his name is Elliot Mitchell. He's like a huge sponsor this year. Crumble Cookies came in and is sponsoring, so the first 100 people in the door are going to get free coupons for Crumble Cookies. I know, right?
So we'll be there right.
Yeah, you can get in line. Yes, it's so funny. Last year we had people trying to come in early and we're like, hold on, the authors aren't set up yet. Like, hold on. It was so cool. Like, that's what you want. You want people excited to come in, but also I'm like, hold on, they just need to set up their stuff. We have, we're giving out free goodie bags to the first 100 people. So not only will there be like the Crumble Cookies in there, but we have all kinds of other swag and cool stuff that the sponsors are going to put in. So we have a barbecue place called Bird's Nest Barbecue. They're sponsoring. We've got really cool, there's a local book vendor who does like sprayed edges and stuff, and she's really cool. It's a husband-wife duo. Their name is Bookish Signs and More, and they do all kinds of really cool stuff. So they're a sponsor. A bunch of authors pitched a sponsor too. And so I just think it's so cool that these people are so willing to step up and help that keep this free for the community. And, you know, as much as I would love to give my time and all of the things that happen for free, that's just not how life is. So luckily we have people who have been able to step up and give and really generously so that we could make some really cool stuff.
And are these the vendors and are they local? Like, are they local to?
Most of them are. I would say 90% of them are local. I always joke that Erin is the furthest because she's in Ohio. So most of the places we go, I'm always like, you drove the furthest, but you know, it's really to me. We have, there's a radius, you know, up in Pennsylvania. I know we've got one from New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, and the entire area. So I don't think there's anyone outside of that. I was at a couple of conventions this year and have met some people who are really interested and maybe coming next year from out of town. So we're definitely going to, you know, hopefully expand our reach in the next year. I would love to have people from all over come and hang out with us.
And it's just, I'm just on the fact that it's only been a year.
It's only been a year.
It's gotten so much hype and so much excitement. I just love that, like, it's like the community really just like comes together.
Yes.
People are willing to sponsor you to keep it free for the community.
Yeah.
So that must like, how does that make you feel? Like, wow, these people are willing to help me to make this work.
It's really indescribable because people always and so kindly want to give me credit. And, you know, I'm really just an organizer. Like it doesn't work unless a community comes together and wants it and gives to it. And it really is because the community has wanted these extra tables, wanted this extra space, you know, that I'm able to do all of that because I hate telling authors they can't come. I would take every single one, you know, no matter how many books, no matter whatever you want to pay for your table, you come on, like perfect. I can't fit them all. I have a very extensive waiting list this year and people who email and DM me daily who want to come to the fair. And I want to say yes to every single person. I don't want to say no to anybody. And so the fact that I can bring even more people in next year is going to be amazing, that I can say yes to so many people I unfortunately had to say no to this year because I just didn't have the space. There's so many, you know, so much talent, so many people who really want to come and celebrate in this and, you know, be part of this community and joy, and I just think it's awesome.
Like we said, this bookish community is one of the best. We really do step up and like support each other.
Yes.
I think that's just...
I've found, and just going to events and going, you know, I went to see Rebecca Yaros in January, and so we went to see her speak, and I'm not going to name names, but the people who ran the event, it wasn't organized very well at all. It was not great, and there were probably 1,500 of us in this venue. We're stuck up against each other. It felt like a concert a little bit. It was a little, we were stuck in these lines. We're stuck in, you know, people were so kind. They were like, do you need some water? Do you want, like, I was blown away by how nice people were. Even though we're in these like dreadful, you know, this was dreadful. Like it was coming to the time where she was supposed to take the stage and we're still in the merch line. It was a whole thing. People were still just so kind, so wonderful. And the lengths that they'll go to sort of like show their fandom is so cool. Yeah. I have not since like the Harry Potter days felt like I was like part of a fandom and part of a community. And don't get me wrong, I really do enjoy Fourth Wing, but it's not the top of my, like, you know, not the top of my fan. And I really felt like I was part of this really cool movement, this really cool community. And it's because like book people are the best people. They're just, it was so cool. It makes you want to do those things more. It makes you want to go to more events. It makes you want to go see more authors speak and support, you know, obviously traditional authors too, but like indie authors and people who are just trying to get their stuff out there. And there's so many avenues to do that now. You don't have to spend 5 years querying agents if you don't want to. You don't have to do that anymore. I mean, it took us 3 years to put those 3 out. We put out a book a year for 3 years, and we didn't have to wait. If we had waited, I mean, who knows if we would have even gotten to 3, honestly. It's just so much, so much work and so much effort, but you learn so much along the way. And it's the same with the book fair. I just, keep learning and keep trying new things and talking to people and figuring out like what kind of things people want. It's been a really great experience.
Well, that was going to be my next question. So how do you get inspiration for like all the activities you plan for the book fair, the cosplay, how someone came in and recommended it?
Yeah.
How does it come together? Does it just all the ideas are in your head, or?
So originally I knew that I wanted this to be really family friendly. So last year I focused on children's activities because, listen, the romance readers are going to show up. They don't need much. They're going to show up because they're going to show up, and I love them. They are my heart. That's where my heart is. But I wanted families in the door because that's where, you start getting people, and it's really hard to find free stuff to do with your kids. There's just nothing, everything costs so much money. And so I leaned into children's. We had Pete the Cat running around last year. He will be here again this year. We had, coloring stations. We have face painting, and she will be back again this year. She was super popular. Her line was like out the door. And she's fantastically talented. Her name is Hope. She runs Hope's Happy Faces, and she does a fantastic job. So she'll be here again. Some fun new things coming for sure. That will be exciting. So the funny thing that I did last year, again, for my romance readers, because I got to give them a little something, was I had these huge cutouts of the Bat Boys from Akatar. They're like 6-foot cardboard cutouts, resand. Cassian and Azriel were at the book fair at Bel Air, and spoiler, I'm adding Zayden to the lineup this year. I know. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited.
Yes. You can get your picture taken with Zayden Ryerson, everybody. So,
will the Bad Boys also be there again
yes.
this year?
Oh, the Bad Boys aren't good. The Bad Boys are now like my staple of the book fair. I haven't started like filming social content yet of like me being silly. It's coming. Those Bat Boys are going to be on Instagram really soon because I think people are going to be like, what is this girl doing? But the book people, they know, they get it. Like that is for them. I think people were scared to be like silly with them at first. They were like, can I take a pic? Like, what can I do with it? I'm like, take a picture. And so then eventually like somebody broke the ice and like lifted their leg up on him, like, like just being silly.
Leave it to us romance fantasy
right?
readers.
Like eventually somebody's looking around like, I'm going to do it. I'm like, please, that's what they're for. And then eventually like, it broke the ice and people were silly, and it just was so much fun. I loved getting tagged in all the pictures of people with the Bat Boys, just, being goofy, and it was a lot of fun. So they will make their rounds again this year. I just want to like add something every year to make it, sillier and funnier. I'd love to get the dragons somehow. I'm like trying to work on how I can figure that out. I want to incorporate them somehow with Zayden. So my mind is going, but we haven't come up with the idea of what that's going to be exactly yet.
I'm so here for it. Even if it's like an inflatable dragon balloon, I am here for it.
The great part is like so my Pete the Cat from last year is unable to attend this year. I'm not going to call him out, even though I should. So I had to find a new Pete the Cat. Let me tell you, people are willing to just be like, I'll be Pete. I'll take the day off of work and come and be your Pete the Cat. I'm like, okay, that's like people are just so willing to come and lend their time and lend their talents and be silly because it's fun,
Yeah, and I love that like last year you tailored it like towards children because I feel like it's so important for children to read.
Yeah, absolutely.
Early on.
Yes. So last year was children's. This year I'm really trying to lean into the teens. I'm trying to find more things for the teens to do. And I group authors. So you're going to see all the children's together. You'll see all the teen together, and you'll see all the adult, mostly. Sometimes like we usually go with adult because we're going to adult. But for the most part, I do group them together. And I would love to find, like we had some things last year, but nothing that I thought was like a draw for them, if that makes sense. So yeah, this year we're going to do the cosplay contest, and I'm in the market. I'm currently browsing, brainstorming. I was a high school teacher for a long time, so I still like teen literacy is really in my heart. And so that's what I want to do this year, is just try to figure out how we can get more teens excited about coming and reading and dressing up and being part of, like being unapologetically part of your fandom.
Yeah.
Because no matter how old you are, like those things that you love when you're young and when you're a teen, you're you're going to find more that you love as an adult, and you're going to find your people that way. And it's just such a great way to build a community. So I just want to make that like, this is fun. This is cool. Like you don't apologize for loving what you love.
Yeah. And I think that's such a great message. And I think that reading really gives people that space to like see, okay, this relates to me, and I feel that I can see myself in this character or this world. So I love that it's very inclusive.
Yeah.
So not for like kids of all ages, and I just love that.
Yeah, and I think another point that a lot of people maybe don't know or don't think of is that it breeds a lot of writers. Many writers started as fan fiction writers. I would say a good majority, and some of the top writers right now who, have topping the New York Times, Allie Hazelwood, like was a fan fiction writer. And I think a lot of kids do that in secret because they think, it's not cool or it's not whatever. It's really cool. And you could, potentially be Allie Hazelwood later. So maybe, give everybody your AO3, name or whatever, because it's cool.
Well, you've only done the book fair once. And we're talking about so many great things that happened. Was there something that maybe didn't go as planned, or?
Oh, goodness, yes, so many things. As an event planner, you go in and just know things are going to go wrong at some point. I think it's all in really how you handle it. I think that as long as you try to have a good attitude, try to be flexible, and know at the core, you're working with people. They own businesses, but they're people. So yes, did people have things happen? Had to call out? Did we have tables wrong? Yes. All of those things happened. Are all those things going to happen again? Yes. Like those, nothing's going to go perfectly. But people were really gracious and really helpful. And, I kind of had to go up to people and be like, can you move? And okay, kind of a thing. And, learned a lot. So yes, there were definitely, I can't think of like anything super specific other than some people had to cancel that maybe that's never good. I always want people, if you paid, you're here, I want you to have your spot. But yeah, other than that, more or less just like spacing things and room things, not necessarily like a microphone didn't work, nobody could hear me kind of things. Nothing that was so big that it was like a deterrent from wanting to do it again.
So in terms of like the planning stages, how do you go about like the challenging parts of planning? Because it's a lot of management, right? It's a lot of organizing, making sure all your authors are good, your vendors, your cosplayers apparently now. So how does the planning stage look like for you?
This is what I love. That is part of the thing that really brings me joy, a lot of it. I started as a teacher, and I was a teacher for a long time. Teaching is a lot of organization and a lot of management and a lot of figuring out how to make sure everybody has what they need. And so I think I transitioned very naturally. I actually, while I was teaching, started a business selling my lesson plans online and just sort of grew it until it became that I was able to leave the classroom and do it. So that's the bulk of where my money comes from now, is like I run this business called Samantha in Secondary, and it's kind of related because I'm helping teachers find books to pitch to their students. So I'm connected to a lot of authors. I've interviewed a lot of authors. It's a really good way for me to network all the way around. So I'm doing a really cool professional development event in August for teachers, and I've gotten a bunch of authors to send me a bunch of signed books and things to like give out, and it's been a really cool way to like connect the communities. So everything that I do sort of connects in some way. It really just transitioned. I transitioned to it very easily. I love a good spreadsheet. I love a good Google Doc. I really love people, and I feel like that's what makes me pretty good at it, is that you're probably never going to catch me like rude. I've had to have a smile on my face every day for 15 years. I was in a classroom. Like it's, that's sort of how I transitioned into it. And I love it. The organization is my favorite. Contacting businesses, networking, meeting new people, all of that stuff is just my jam. So every year I just hope to like expand it, keep meeting new people, keep bringing people in, because I think we need more of that in the world, of bringing people in and building a longer table. It's just what I'm trying to do.
And that's amazing. Like as a teacher, like you see a lot of different types of people, and I love that you try to incorporate what you know and what you experience as a teacher into planning the book fair and also making it inclusive and for more people at the table. So
we've had a lot of people, reach out. Is this handicap accessible? Is this, is that? Yes, all of it is a yes. Like I made sure kind of at the top of my list is that
anyone who wants to come can come. Well, walk us through like the day of the fair, right? The day of the fair, I'm sure, is probably utter chaos for you, but in the best way, the best kind of chaos.
Yeah, no, it's so much fun. I get up really early. I make my poor mother French braid my hair because it needs to be out of my face, but also like there's pictures of me happening all day long. So, we've got to be put together. And I can't do it myself. I really admire people who can do it themselves. So I make my mom French braid my hair, and then, I go and it's set up as, we tried to do it in an hour last year. It was really rough. So we've got 2 hours this year. I'll be there really early. The parking situation at the Army is really, you have to shuffle people in and out to get them in. So it's really a flow to get everybody in and set up. And I have a great team of volunteers who really showed up hard. My family all showed up. I think almost every single member of my family was in that room doing something. My mom and her best friend were working the front table. I'm going to throw him under the bus. My dad was in the Pete the Cat suit. I know, and my sister was walking him around, being the character attendant. It's just everybody in some way, shape, or form was involved. And I think that was one of the coolest parts, because then afterwards we went home, we had Qdoba catering. It was just like a celebration of this is done, this is cool, this is,
Can I just
this
say
is awesome.
You have a wonderful support system.
I really do.
That's great.
They are just, I'm like, can you do this? Yep. It's a yes. And so that was really one of the coolest parts of doing it, was that everybody showed up. And so now this year, I'm sure my family will be around. I'm sure you'll see them everywhere. But I also have a book club that I'm super, we're just a super little tight-knit group, and they're all going to show up too. They're just wonderful. It is, find your people, you know what I mean? Find if you don't have a book club, start one. It's not that difficult.
Mm-hmm.
How difficult is it to pick a book and read together? It's not that difficult. Yeah, I have a great support system in my life, and super excited.
That's great. I'm sure you've talked so much about just it feeling so great and so rewarding. Was there a specific moment that you remember that you kind of took a pause and you're looking and you're like, wow, I did this.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Yeah, when the doors opened and people flooded in and I looked and there's just a sea of humanity, it took me a second to just be like, oh my goodness, because I've been to a bunch of them at this point, and there have been some I've been to where there's not many people walking around, and shout out to my little town, because they came out and we had 1,300 people through the door. Yeah, for our first year. It was wild. And because we had somebody, we have them counting them as they come in, and it was just amazing. It was better than I could have imagined, and just the fact that many people wanted to come out and support books and literacy and authors and all of those cool things. It was a moment where I really stopped and was like, this is crazy. This is so cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, and I'm still going back. It's the first time. That's just so amazing. Oh,
yeah.
That's great.
Yes.
You really built something that was missing in specifically Bel Air, but in Maryland in general.
In the community, yeah. And Baltimore does them for sure. I just think that it's a different sort of vibe. It's a different sort of, when I think, not to generalize completely, but I think sometimes when suburban people are like Baltimore, they're like, where am I going to park? But what am I going to do? They don't always want to go into the city, and
those people have not been in Manhattan then.
Yeah, I'm like, well, they make trains. I just, but there's free parking. It's very easy to park. It's very accessible. And next year will be even more, because you can park right in front of the venue next year. This year you park in a parking garage. It's 1 block over. It's, most people in Bel Air, know where to park. But next year you can literally park in the parking lot. It's going to be right there. Making it accessible has definitely been at the top of my list.
You said last year you got about 1,300 people.
Mm-hmm.
How many are you expecting this year?
We're hoping to double.
What?
Yeah.
That's, oh my gosh.
Yeah, we are hoping, the target number is 2,600. We have when you double the vendors, you hope to double the people in the door. And I have been hitting the marketing hard. I run ads. I've talked to a bunch of people. I do things like this where I'm trying to get the word out about it. And so I've been doing that for the past couple of months, really. Just, making sure people in the general vicinity know it exists.
As someone who, you're still fairly new to fair, but clearly it's been doing phenomenal. What advice would you give to authors or even readers maybe that kind of want to do something like this and maybe have a book fair or even open a bookstore? Or,
Yeah.
you know, if that hope is still on the table.
Yeah, that hope is always going to be on the table. I'm always going to picture my little bookstore with my cat in the window. That's always going to be a thing. So someday, hopefully, you never know. I think my number one thing would be to think about your skill set and to think about what you're good at, because you'll walk into a book fair and think, I can do this, right? You may not be able to do this. And I think that we've seen over the past few years, there have been people who were like, I can do this. And maybe it just didn't go so well. I've been to events that didn't go so well. So think about your skill set. Think about what you're good at. Are you organized? Are you somebody who can talk to people? Can you write professional emails? Can you keep everybody, in line? Do you have some business experience? You have to market it. So you're going to have to learn how to do some marketing, even if I'm not a big fan of being on camera. It's just like not my favorite thing. I do it because I have to. But like I was telling you guys earlier, like I'm real awkward at first until I just start talking to you and forget there's a camera. And then I'm like, oh, okay. You have to find the things that you like to do and the things that you can do and that you're good at that will help get the word out. Yeah, think about your skill set and do I have these skills? Are these skills I can build? What skills am I missing? What can I go and learn how to do that I don't know how to do that I might need to do for this? Try to shadow somebody. Call a book. Like when I was, really wanting to start the bookstore and really serious about it, I called bookstore owners. I've shadowed. I've emailed. I've talked to people. If I hadn't done that, I might have jumped in and just did it without really knowing the things that go on behind the scenes, because there's so much stuff that goes on behind the scenes that you should definitely do your research and figure out what you need to learn before going into it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's a lot of work.
It's so much work.
It's a lot of work.
And I think also for not a ton of money. Like it's not my, I'm a business person. I have multiple, legs of my business. It is not at all my biggest money maker. It's way down the list. I do it because I love it. And I do it because it's the thing that brings me joy and lights me up. I do all the other stuff because I need to make money. So
it has to support what you love.
Yes. And so would I love to do this full time? Absolutely, sure. But I can't do that. So yeah, that's definitely what I would say. I would say, know that you're going into it because you love it and that it's in your skill set and it's something that you can really see yourself doing for a long time, because I would hate to see somebody, pick it up, put it together, and then, just have to walk away from it for whatever reason. So however many years you get out of it, that would be awesome. That's my advice as far as event planning goes.
It's great advice.
Thanks.
It's really rewarding too.
Yeah.
If you really love it and you dedicate your time to it, the results and the outcomes, I'm sure you mentioned it already.
Yeah.
Seeing it in real life, and because planning it is like hypothetical.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, okay, it's just an idea. But when it actually is executed, that day, you were like, whoa, all these people really showed up. Yes,
I had to stand back and just take a minute, because I was amazed that there were so many people in that space. It was, I look at pictures sometimes and I think, oh my goodness, there's many people showed up for this. And so I just keep hoping that people are still interested and still want to come and support these guys. That's what I just keep doing.
You mentioned Zayden. So all the Romantasy readers out there will be like, Zayden, I'm there. I'm going to fly from West Coast.
Yes.
I don't even know what this is, but if he's there, I'm there.
Zayden, even a cutout of him?
Yes.
You bring in a dragon?
Well, not only that, but I commissioned the art too. So it's special Zayden. It's not I didn't go on and pick some random picture of this guy. It was specifically made for the cutout. He's, don't worry, he's going to look great. He's ready to take a picture with you.
You hear that, everyone?
Yes.
He's ready for you.
He's ready for you. So I'm, just keep hoping to do that and keep building the love, from the kids up, and really hoping to get some high schoolers in this year to volunteer. I really wanted that last year just because that's where my heart is. I would definitely love to bring in some bookish kids this year to hopefully help. That's sort of my goal.
I definitely feel like you will have a pretty great turnout.
We're hoping.
Gonna happen. You have to manifest it.
Oh yeah, totally. I'm into it. Let's manifest
all the positive vibes.
2,600. That's our number.
How can readers and community members support you and the book fair, and maybe even the authors and vendors and cosplayers that will be attending? So
the best way to connect with us is we're on Instagram at Book Fair at Bel Air. We are also on Facebook, Book Fair at Bel Air. I don't do TikTok because I don't want to learn TikTok. If somebody would do TikTok for me, I would be for it, but I just don't want to. So unfortunately, we're not there. Or you can go to our website, bookfair@belair.org, and there is an email list there as well where we do announcements and all of that good stuff as well. So.
Awesome. Well, I know that the book fair is you have this book fair and then you have other entrepreneurial projects.
Yes.
But you did mention that you write as a hobby.
Yes.
Because you were saying earlier, it's more of a hobby.
Yes, I'm
right?
definitely a hobby writer.
So I do want to definitely touch point on your book Mixtape.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the world would love to know.
Sure.
What inspired you to first call it Mixtape, and also it's very music based,
yes.
right? So where did that inspiration
Yes, I love to tell people that this book is Glee in a book because it really is. Aaron and I grew up in a community that didn't have a whole lot. We just, very small community, and everything was centered around the football team, right? So we're from a small town. We have, this little football team. And so either you danced or you, because again, choices were very minimal, or you did something with music in the band because you had to support the football team. We were into that somehow growing up. And so when we decided to write this was actually inspired in young adult novels. Sexual assault is a very popular topic, and it is not always well done. In fact, more often than not, it's really poorly done. YA loves to dig into the feeling, overcome with emotion, how terrible, the doom and gloom of everything, right? And then at the end of these books, they cut you off, and you don't get to see a character who's gone through a horrible thing come out on the other side. Right before we even brainstormed Mixtape, I had read probably 3 of these that the exact same thing, right? Something horrible would happen to a young girl, and at the end, we've gone through the doom and gloom with her, cut off. And every time I'm like, what? This is, I personally know people who have come out on the other side and are doing really well. And we were talking about it one day, and I was like, we should do this. We should write where, something horrible happens to this girl and you watch her healing journey. And so really that's sort of what you get to see with Mixtape. Where did all of this sort of come from is the main character, her name is Aria. She is a musical prodigy. And so she does everything. She sings, she plays the piano, she can even dance, you find out eventually, because she's just, the music's in her veins. And so she is plopped back into high school after having been out of high school for a long time. And that was sort of done on purpose because high school's a weird place to navigate. And we just sort of wanted this introduction to, oh goodness, what does this all look like, right? And so she starts high school, she meets her friend group. We have a really strong found family friend group in this book that you'll see them throughout the entire series. And so we actually wrote this story multiple times. This book was probably written 4 times from front to back. And we had a lot of different versions of it, but the way we came out with the way that we wanted it to go was we wanted something to happen very early so that you could watch her journey from there. And so then we also were able to sort of dig into the other characters and expand the series. So book 1 is really about Aria. Everything is off the page. You don't get to actually see anything. She is 16. You do know what happens. You will know what happens when it happens because it's described without detail. And then sort of later in the book, when the other friends start becoming more important, or more just not important, but central. In the second book, we actually do a dual narrator. And so you'll get Aria and you'll get Emma as well in book 2. And people always comment that they love Aria and Emma's relationship, but really that just came out of us just writing together. And this book, I think, has a lot of pieces of us for sure in it. And then book 3, we add Noah in. So now you have 1, 2, 3 narrators, and you grow with her from 16 years old to 22. So you'll go through the end of high school with her. You'll go through all of college, I think, all of college with her. It's her healing journey. You get to watch her come from something horrible happening to her to really, book 2, she's in a bad spot. It is sometimes just really hard to read because she's just so lost. And it's about her finding herself and figuring out who she wants to be and how she wants to live her life. You get to kind of watch that with her friends around her. And then book 3, we can have a little bit of a relapse because it happens when something, life is not linear. It's always up and down. And you kind of have to see her figure out how she's going to maintain that, which I thought was a really important thing to include, because when things happen, you're going to have spots in your life where things come back up and you kind of have to deal with that again. And so it was important to me to include that in the third book.
I think this series is a very realistic way of going through something traumatic. And
Yeah.
like you said, it's not linear. It's you're doing really well, and then something happens and it triggers and you go down again.
Yeah.
So I really love that you started it from the beginning and you're like, okay, this is what happens when you heal, but then, you know, something happens or an emotion comes up and you're like, okay, here we go.
Or you have to see somebody that you didn't want to see and didn't know that it was going to bring up all these things. And so really that comes from that. And the music ties into it because it really highlights her healing journey. So in Mixtape, we call the chapters tracks, and each track has a song. The song is directly related to the chapter. I will tell you the amount of hours that went into making sure the songs were perfect. And not only the song's perfect, they're in the correct year because this takes place in the early 2000s. So you started 2001, and the amount of research we did on if the song was released, did that song exist yet? Took a lot of research. So yeah, you get to see all these songs from the early 2000s. It's super nostalgic. It's for me, it's super nostalgic. If you're younger than me, it's going to be historical fiction, but that's okay too. So I think it's just a really cool era to be able to go back and just see, especially because we lived it. So it's very authentic. There are no cell phones until 3 has a cell phone, a clunky cell phone that you push the button a bunch of times and you can play Snake. Yeah. It's like a brick. Yeah, it's like a brick. Yes. In 3, we cover that. And actually in 3, we get into American Idol a little bit, which I think is like funny. And like there's all kinds of cultural references and things that happened in the early 2000s that we were able to include that are just so much fun. And so much fun for people who lived through it to get to go back to it. But then also I think it's really cool for people who haven't to be able to just see like, this is kind of what it was like. And this is how we functioned without cell phones.
Especially because it's tailored to young adults.
Yes,
so
it's teen book. Mm-hmm.
These young adults are like 12, 13 years old.
Yeah, we try to say like 14 and up, but like I think if your parents were cool with it and knew, everything is closed door. Things happen, like for sure, everything is closed door. So we always say 14 and up, but that's really to cover us. I think like probably 13, 12-year-old would probably be fine with it.
So I just love that the series is like a real feel, but also a good feel.
Yes.
Like you said, like that nostalgia, but also like that serious note of this happened, this is her recovery story and how she evolves from it. So after reading all 3 books, what would you hope a reader like takes away from it? So
my favorite thing about these books are the dedication. So we kind of have this concept, and when you're reading it, I think some people will get it for sure, and I think some people it might go right over the head. But we talk about the healing journey being mind, body, and soul, right? And so these books represent mind, body, and soul. So we really dig into the theme here of like mental health and those kind of things. Here it's very physical because it's like a dancing. It's super centered around dancing. And then this one is like soul because it's sort of in Noah's perspective. He's really struggling with what to do with himself, with his life. He's lost. He doesn't know what to do. We kind of tried to weave that in. Entire theme or the idea of it is really like healing. It's really like if something, we say something, it says, for those of you who have found yourself on a journey of healing, we hope you find your harmony. That's kind of like the idea, what we hope people get out of it.
Oh my God, that's so beautiful.
We love them, obviously.
Yeah.
Like they're my favorite thing. But we've spent and it's funny how much we've gone back. Like I think I was telling you, like, the first mixtape we published is not the one that you can buy on Amazon currently anymore. Like it's not, it's not the same thing. We've learned so much about book publishing and even book formatting and everything that like the old mixtape one, I like to justify everything left when I'm writing. I don't know why, it just makes sense to me. That is not what publishing looks like. It's not what your books look like. So we had to actually go back and reformat every single paragraph of the entire book because I was left aligning the entire thing because I'm a business writer apparently. We had to do that. We learned, more about what the page layouts are supposed to look like and everything. And so, yeah, mixtape 1 looks a whole lot better now than it did when it was originally published. So I always joke that if somebody has an old one, you've got a collector's edition.
Yeah. Well, that's
joy.
Well, it's also like part of the experience, right?
Yeah.
It's like it was your first book.
Yeah. Oh, you're getting all the typos too. Like, there's two of us. We hired an editor. I'm not kidding. It is so hard to publish a book that does not have something wrong with it somewhere. We went through that book so many times. And then the fact that like when we did 3, we went back through each one again just to like really get into the space before we started writing 3. And there were still typos. I was horrified when I read it on Kindle Unlimited. As a teacher, as a writer, just as a general human, I was like, what did we do? And as the world changes, some things don't age well either. So we had to go back and like change some wording and like make things a little different because they weren't quite as, we want to be sensitive to people. We don't want people to read it and be uncomfortable in any way. So we had to go back and change some terminology, change some, things that maybe weren't originally great. It's been such an experience learning how to go from, this, which was just baby us trying to figure out what we were doing, to this, which I think is our most polished, the best of,
you see
of all
the evolution.
You really do. If you want to go watch some authors grow from like, scribbling on a paper to like a full, like even our editor, we had a wonderful editor throughout these books. She was a retired English teacher, and they're like where it's at. They should be editing everything. So, and she's like an old school paper and pencil editor. I mean, just amazing. Even, we went to meet about book 3, and she just looked at us and she was like, you found your groove. I'm like, yeah, we knew it. Like we knew it, but just to hear from someone else that was like, this is it. You found your groove was really cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I know it. I haven't read the whole thing, but I know it's a great story. Like just by you explaining it, the music, like part of it, and
I've cried writing it. I've cried reading it. Like I
will definitely cry.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's funny because we write different scenes, So sometimes when there's a scene in 3, the first time she wrote it and I read it, I was out. I was crying. I was like, what is wrong with me that reading my own stuff, crying.
Well,
so
it's real, and
it is so, I love the contemporary space. It's where my heart is. And I don't read a ton of contemporary. I'm more of because I don't like to cry. I don't like to cry because I read a lot of fantasy. I read rom-coms, things like that. Contemporary is just so, it will grab you because it's so real life. It's so things that, that you want to capitalize on that. Like all the things that people feel, you want to hit the human emotion, the human experience as much as you can. I think that we, if nothing else in these books, I think we did that. I think we hit on things that everybody can relate to.
That's amazing. That's great. Well, Samantha, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Such a wonderful conversation of your
Absolutely.
books and your experience with being a book fair owner. For our viewers and for our fans, your fans, where can they go to support you and your books and your book fairs?
Yeah.
All 3.
So the books, Erin and I write under E.S. Roslin. I'm the S. She's the E. And it's actually our middle names. Everyone's always like, how did you come up with that? And I'm like, it's our middle names, just shoved together. That's it. Yeah, it wasn't really anything, crazy creative there. It's just our middle names. So that would be at E.S. Roslin on Instagram. Again, not like a TikTok human, so sorry. We're esroslinwrites.com. We are going to be putting out an adult book here pretty soon, hopefully mid next year, we're hoping. It's currently in the works. We're sticking to like what we know. It's going to be contemporary, small town. We're so excited about it. Like the thing we love to do is build a town. Like we are so, and I'm like reading it and cracking up. So she is so funny. Sometimes I'm like, oh, how are you so much funnier than I am? I think it's going to be the combination of everything that we really love to do. So I'm super excited about it. And then the book fair is at Book Fair at Bel Air and bookfair@belair.org.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. And for anyone that's in the DMV area on August 23rd, be sure to stop by the book fair, show some support, show some love to these authors, to Samantha, who works so hard to make it happen. And the TBR Trio team will also be there that day.
Hey, we're so excited to have you guys.
So please come say hi to us. We would love to meet you. Say hi to Samantha. I'm sure she would love to meet you as well.
Yes.
And thank you for tuning into this episode of Tales in Focus. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss any more future author interviews and even book events. Hint, hint. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at tbr.trio and tbrtrio.com for behind the scenes, author event updates, and all of that lovely stuff. We will see you next time to see what other tales TBR tells.